So very good morning students. So let us today start with unit number 4. Unit number 4 deals with optical pressure and temperature sensor. Okay, so in this the syllabus is as follows. You have photoconductive cells, then photovoltaic cell, then photoresistive and LDR. So that are all same. Photoconductive cell and photoresistive and LDR all are same. Only thing is the phenomena is called as photovoltaic cell, and the real term we call it as photoresistive, and the device we call it as LDR, light dependent resistance. Okay, so all these three is same. And the one more thing is photovoltaic, which is nothing but solar panel. Then comes your fiber optics. Fiber optics means transmitting light through an cable, which we called as fiber optics. Then comes pressure. By applying pressure, what and all you can generate in the form of electricity. So okay, then comes your temperature. Then thermistor is a device which converts change in temperature into voltage. RTDs, then thermocouples, all this comes under temperature sensor. Then acoustic sensor, then flow and level measurement. Okay, then radiation sensor, smart sensor. Then comes your sensors as very small in size, that we call it as MEMS and nano sensors. And last one is laser sensor. With the help of laser as a light source, there are some types of sensors. So this is about unit number 4, and today let us discuss about what is photovoltaic cell and what is photoconductive and photovoltaic. These two topics we will see today. So first of all, let us start with photoconductive cell. Photoconductive cell is nothing but, see, you take there is only a small difference between photoconductive and photovoltaic. Okay, in photoconductive you take two semiconductors. When two semiconductors are brought together, I think you know there is some junction formed between these two layers. When you bring a p layer closer to n layer, what happens is, see, all the electrons from n cannot jump to p without any drift, which means without giving any external electric influence. You cannot say all the electrons from n side will cross p, but there are some boundaries where this two layer come into picture, that is called junction of this p and n. At the junction, what happened, the electron which is very close from your from n type will slightly jump to p type. This is called as diffusion current. There is difference between two, diffusion and drift. In case of diffusion, you are not giving any external electric field, just two types of semiconductor are brought together. So when they brought together, what happens, slight jump will be there, and this forms a layer. Okay, you call it as depletion layer. Now only difference between photoconductive and photovoltaic is, in your solar panel, same, there are two types of semiconductors where you call it as p type and n type. In photoconductive also you have two terminals of semiconductor device. Okay, the only difference is, in case of photoconductive, the diode is brought in reverse bias condition, whereas in photovoltaic, diode is being brought in forward conduction. Okay, forward bias and reverse bias, only that is the difference. So now what we do is, you take two type of semiconductor material. Okay, when light source falls on this particular material, then your resistance will fall. So when resistance fall, the current will flow, and the current which we say is, you have to remember, this is not diffusion, this is drift. So externally you have already applied a very voltage across this semiconductor, but there is no current flow. Now I think you can guess, it is like a reverse bias. So what will happen in reverse bias condition, you take p type and n type material. When it is in reverse bias condition, what happens, the barrier will be very more, so that there won't be any external electric field flowing across the semiconductor device. That you should remember. Usually students are all will get confused there. See, electron from external is not able to cross your p-n junction. Okay, you have a p, you have n, these two brought together, and now you know that they are reverse bias. You will have a barrier setup, and this there is no current flow across the device. There is no current flow across the device, which means electron from N to P, which is not possible in case of reverse bias. So now what we do is, at that time it's nothing but you will have very high resistance. Okay, that is what we mean to say. Resistance will be very high. Now what we do, we supply energy from external, which means from light source or from solar. Now what happens is, this depletion region will decrease, or resistance will decrease. If the resistance decrease, automatically there will be a current flow. This is the principle in photoconductive cell. Okay, that is what we mean to say, two terminal semiconductor device whose terminal resistance will vary with the intensity of light. For obvious reason, it's frequently called as photoresistive device. So that is what I told, photoconductive is same as photoresistive device, because the device is going to behave for light with change in resistance. The photoconductive material most commonly used are, see, only difference is in photoconductive material used is differ from the material which is used in solar panel. Okay, solar cell. You might have studied a normal PN junction and a Zener diode. What is the difference between normal PN junction and Zener diode? In normal PN junction, the reverse bias voltage is, the breakdown voltage is very high, which means when the diode is reverse bias and if you are increasing the potential, the required amount of potential to break the barrier is very high. Usually this flow of electron you have to compare with flow of water. So water will behave similarly to the flow of electron in all aspect. Okay, you have a dam. So when you are, what is the purpose of the dam is to store water. So now what I have told, water is your flow of electron. So you close the walls of the dam. So what happens? Obviously the water level will go on increase. At a particular instant, further you cannot store water. You have to obviously open the doors of your dam. Otherwise your dam will break. Okay. So this is called normal diode behavior. So when it is reverse bias, you go on increase your potential, which is nothing but voltage. At very high voltage, that barrier cannot withstand and it will break, and that case is total collapse, that you are not supposed to do in PN junction, as well as you are not supposed to do in your dam. Okay, so that I think you might have known, in the year 2016 there was heavy flood in Kerala, which is due to all the dams were not opened at the time of monsoon. So what they did, they thought why we can store and they doesn't open, but the rainfall has gone to level that all the dams are totally filled. Now if they are not opening, what will happen? The dam will break. So entirely they suddenly on a night they opened all the dams, so flood across the state, and the flood, and then you have seen the consequences. So that is what a PN junction. But what is about Zener diode? Zener diode is like a check dam. I think you might have seen a check dam. Check dam is nothing but what? A small wall they will build for 3 feet or 4 feet. So water will come and stagnate for 3 to 4 feet and it will cross over the wall. Okay. Now till that 3 to 4 feet water is filling. So now it is in reverse bias. Now there is no water flowing from one side to another side. But at a very low voltage, at a very low potential, after the water reaches this 5 or 4 feet, the water starts to flow. Now also you have turned on, but your device doesn't break. That is for Zener. Are you able to understand the difference between Zener and a PN? So in PN, very high potential is required to break, whereas in Zener, at very low voltage. See, I can build a 2-layer brick, 3-layer brick, 4-layer brick, 5-layer brick. So number of layers of brick will only tell about the breakdown. So once the water is reaching, I think you might, even in next class I will show some figures so that you can much more you can understand. So in Zener, it is like building a wall for 4 steps or 5 steps, or 1 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet. When you go to village side, you might see in this check wall, like small wall they will build. The water will try to flow. The water will flow from one side to another side after that wall reaches that particular height. So in this case, what happens is there is nothing called breakdown. So nothing called total breakdown. The breakdown is only it will wait till that particular instant. Once that particular instant is reached, automatically your water will try to flow. Okay, so this is the case of Zener. Okay, now all this I am saying just to say that all semiconductors are not same. Okay, so when you go for normal PN junction, you use some type of semiconductor material, whereas in case of photoconductive, see what I want is, if there is no light, the resistance has to be very high. If the light falls, then this barrier has to break. The barrier which I am saying is reverse breakdown or the reverse bias of your PN junction. So that is what it is made up of here, made up of cadmium sulfide. Two types of material we generally go, and there is some difference. Why should we use that two type? And between the two types also there is some characteristic change. So you can see cadmium sulfide and cadmium selenide, both material responds rather slow to change in light intensity. So light intensity if increases, then the resistance will fall. Or in other words, see cadmium on one side, sulfide on another side, brought together to form a PN junction, and this junction you will have reverse bias barrier. This barrier is being slowly reduced with intensity of light. Okay, the peak spectral response time of CDS unit is about 100 microseconds to 10 microseconds. So that is the level of response time for CDSE cells. So CDS is 100 milliseconds and CDS is 10 milliseconds. So when you want faster response for change in light intensity, then I will go for cadmium selenide. If I want slow response, see, response is again depends upon the application. In some application I required high response, and some application I should require slower response. I think you all know where you want slow response and where you want high response. So when you want slow response, then you have to go for CDS. No, I need very high response, then you go for CDSE. See, for example, when you go for some automobile, so automatic driving where the opponent has to be sensed, in that case and all we will go for very high response. So we will go for SDSE cells. Just for example I am saying, it is not for the same application and all, just I am saying some application requires very high response time and some requires very low response time is more than sufficient. So another important difference between the two material is temperature sensitivity. So we all know, so when a PN junction is there, when it is reverse bias, if the temperature of the PN junction increases, automatically the electron will be released from the bond and electron will try to cross, because they are not conductor, they are not insulator, they are in between. So they are temperature dependent. If the temperature rises, then the electron flow will start, and we all know. So once the electron flow start, it itself will generate temperature, and this will further increase, and this may leads to thermal runaway. We call it as a situation where the entire device will get collapsed. So since these are made of semiconductors, obviously there will be a temperature sensitivity issues. There is a large change in resistance of cadmium selenide cells with the change in ambient temperature. This is what the issue comes. See what we told, this fellow is highly faster response than this. On one point you say you required this fellow, but this fellow, rather than from your light, even from the temperature itself, it starts to reduce in temperature resistance. So that is some negative issue. Okay, the spectral response of cadmium sulfide cells closely matches to that of human eye. So finally we conclude that we cannot go for selenide, you go for sulfide. The reason why I go for sulfide is it is closely matched to the human eye, which means our response. So if you, what is the response of human eye to the light intensity? It gets matched with this particular fellow, and therefore it is often used in application where human vision is a factor. Human vision factor is, see, when you take photo, your vision and the camera lens opening should match, then only the light which you see will be correctly observed by the camera. So this type of materials are used in your automatic iris control of camera. Iris is nothing but the opening of your lens. Okay, see, you have, what is camera? Camera is nothing but you have a film. Olden days we have film, now we have digital. So in olden days you will have film. The exposure of this lens opening will make the image to fall. Depending upon the light source you have to open, time will vary. If it is low light, you will open for more time. If it is high light, you will open for less time. I am right? இங்கே வெளியே போய் நிற்கிறீங்க, when you see the sunlight, if the sunlight is more, automatically your peepa will, it will reduce in size, it will become small, which means it knows that the opening is required is less. Whereas when you move in night, your entire circle will increase in your eye, which means it has to open large. So same case for digital camera. So this particular fellow is used as a sensor there. So this sensor will sense, and this is used as a sensor. That is, cadmium sulfide is used as a sensor to sense it and try to open your opening of your camera to capture the image. Okay, so that is what with respect to this. Then we have to see what and all the essential elements required. So first one is ceramic substrate over which you are going to build. This is a substrate, that's all. A layer of photoconductive material, so above which you have to deposit photoconductive. Then at the end you have to take electrodes, then metallic electrodes to connect the device into a circuit. So ceramic substrate I will take. Ceramic substrate is one terminal. Then I will go on coat my second material. So between these two I will take contact. That solves our matter. So metallic electrode to connect the device into circuit. A moisture resistant enclosure, which is nothing but you put inside a glass, that's all. You have to prevent moisture in order to protect the device, so that you have to do. So this is the symbol. The only difference is usually we put a circle and draw resistance and write it as R. Here you have to write it as lambda, which is nothing but wavelength. So lambda, wherever you put resistance and put a lambda symbol, then it is indicating that it is the symbol for photoconductive cell. Okay, and to increase your sensitivity, what you will do is you will form like a spring like structure. So within the area I have to have more material, so you will go for zigzag and all. So light sensitive material is arranged in the form of long strip. Okay, long strip, zigzag across the disc shaped base with the protective sides. For added protection, a glass or a plastic cover may be included on the top. The two ends of the strips are brought out for connecting pins below the base. So you take this two pin, so one is from the end and another one, and this will be covered with a glass on the top. So this is side view and this is a top view. So now let us go for application. So how we are going to use this application? I think you all know what relay. So this is a relay. Primary alone I have shown in relay. Secondary of the relay I have not shown. What is a relay? Relay is nothing but you will have a winding on one side, and another side you will have a moving contact. So this winding, a particular current should, or the particular amount of electron should flow to energize this coil. So this is like a coil. To energize this coil you need a current. See, just by turning on, a very small current will flow, and that current will is not sufficient to energize this coil. So it requires some amount of current. Okay, so that amount of current can be brought in if this resistance is reducing. So if initially this resistance will be very high, so there won't be any current flow since it is a closed path. Okay, so it starts from here, where we say from positive to negative, but really electron is flowing, but we say from higher potential to lower potential. So this is a closed path, but even though it is a closed path, this is very high resistance, and when the light starts to fall, the resistance will come down. When this resistance is reducing, current will increase. See, the total resistance is only going to decide about current flow. Similarly, when you have a dam, from the dam, if you have a very polished surface, unpolished surface and mud, what will happen? See, at the opening of the dam you have so many ditch, like small hole. So what will happen? Water will get stored and nothing will flow. So all water will be absorbed. So similar way, this will try to, if the resistance is more, then less amount of current. If resistance is come down, then current will increase. So initially resistance will be very high, so no current will flow, so this coil cannot get excited. When you allow the light to fall, resistance will come down, automatically this coil will get enough amount of current and this get energized. Once the coil is energized, you know the secondary part will have a movement. So that's all application of your photoconductive cell. Okay, when the cell is illuminated, the resistance is low and relay current is maximum. So that is what the application. When the cell is in dark, on 2 mark question they will ask what is dark resistance. Then dark resistance is very high resistance, you have to tell. When the cell is dark, its high resistance reduce the current drawn to leave to low and energize the relay. The resistance R is included. See, this resistance is additional resistance. If your light intensity falling on this is not more sensitive, then you will add this resistance also, depending upon energizing current. So see, when you go and buy a relay, they will only mention the relay in terms of energizing current. So that is the current required. So to match this current, we have to match with the resistance. V is equal to IR. So V and I is related with R. So based upon this value only, so for that fine tuning, we use this R is included to limit the relay current to the desired level when the resistance of the cell is low. Okay, so this is for sensitivity. Now we can see the graph. So when light is always in terms of luminous per meter square. Okay, always light source we call it as luminous in terms of meter square per meter square. So when light is 0 or at most when no light, you will have maximum resistance. Then when the light intensity is increasing, your resistance will fall. This is not a linear graph. Okay, this is a expressed in terms of logarithmic graph. Okay, it is observed that when the cell is not illuminated, its resistance may be more than 100 kilo ohms. This resistance is called as dark resistance. On 2 mark they will ask what is dark resistance. Then you have to say, in photoconductive cell, when there is no light intensity, there is a maximum resistance. It will be in order of 100 kilo ohms, and this resistance is nothing but dark resistance. When the cell is illuminated, then the resistance may fall to few hundred ohms. Note that the scale of illumination characteristics are logarithmic to cover the wide range. When I cannot draw a graph from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 10,000. So this, in order to have a proper illusion, we go for logarithmic scale. Okay, cell sensitivity may be expressed in terms of cell current for given voltage and given level of illumination. Then comes your photovoltaic, second part of today's discussion. So now we go for photovoltaic. The only thing you have to remember is now also same we will talk about PN junction, but the only thing is now the person is in forward bias condition. Previously it was in reverse bias condition, now it is in forward bias condition. So I think you should know what sir is saying, forward, reverse and all. See, I will come back and I will show you so that you can understand here. So here it is positive. Then what should be the terminal closer to this? It should be negative, that's all. This should be positive. So here it is N type which is closer to here and P type which is here. So this forms a reverse bias condition, whereas in photovoltaic it is ulta. Now positive will be connected to positive, negative will be connected to negative, which means the output of the cell P should be connected to your positive of your circuit. That's all. So P type and N type you will have. P type you will connect it to positive, N type you will connect it to negative in case of photovoltaic. So always remember when you come to final year, you do a project, there you will always, now future itself is only solar, so you will do with solar panel and all, there you will design solar cell and all. The thing you have to remember, diode is in forward bias condition, diode is not in reverse bias. So diode is in forward bias condition. It is a process of generation of voltage or electric current in a photovoltaic cell when it is exposed to sunlight. It is the effect that makes the solar panel useful, as it would now the cell with the panel converts sunlight to electrical energy. So this principle was invented in 1839, but it is brought into picture only in 1960. And this 1960 also, it is not brought for your home application and all, it is only for satellite technology. So when you launch a satellite, I cannot send with a battery source and all for the satellite, so usually it has to have a solar panel. So in 1960 only, photovoltaic cell was brought into commercial. Photovoltaic effect was introduced in 1839. See the difference, it was 1839 and 1960, more than 100 years it took for making a photovoltaic cell. The photovoltaic effect occur in solar cell. These solar cells are composed of two type of semiconductors, a p-type and n-type, that is joined together to create a p-n junction. By joining these two type of semiconductor, an electric field is formed in the region of junction. This is nothing but diffusion. Again I say, by joining these two types of semiconductor, an electric field is formed. I am not giving any external, it itself get formed. When it itself it is formed, which means itself there is some flow, that itself flow is called as diffusion. Okay, so that current we call it as diffusion. Region junction, as an electrode moves to positive side. See, when you say electron move to positive side, all electron cannot jump because this is diffusion. So only on the surface of the p-n there will be some amount of flow of electrons. So electron move from positive side and holes move to the negative side. Literally speaking, there is no hole movement and all. Holes cannot move, only electrons can move. It is like playing a game. You might have played this game in your small childhood, like they call it as Pallanguli, where they will take from one box and they will try to put it in other boxes. So when you take from that box now is hole. Previously it has some content. So when electron is jump from one place to another, electron has moved, but previously hole was on the left hand side, now hole will be on the right hand side. If the electron jumps from right side to left side, electron jumps from right side to left side, it is seem as if like holes is moving from left to right, but there is no flow of holes and all. Okay, that you have to be very clear. The field causes a negatively charged particle to move on one direction and positively charged to another direction. So now this is how your solar panel will be. So one is n type, another one is p type. Now you have a junction of p n junction. Now the person from the sun or the light, you all know that. You should be very clear. You should not mistakenly say from sunlight I am not taking heat for generation of electricity. It is only photon for generation. So you don't think that when you keep your solar panel at a place where you have high temperature, solar panel get damaged. Temperature is not at all required, only photon is required. That is why you can see all research is done in Germany. So Germany is the world largest production of energy from sun. So okay, but their temperature will not even cross 25 degree even in hot summer. So you might know, so Germany was the invented and they were very popular in solar panel. So it is clear that you need photons, not temperature. So sun emits both. From sun you receive both. You will receive both photons as well as temperature. That temperature is due to heat up of the air particles and all, but now we required only photon. So that you have to be very clear. So light is composed of photon. So light has some other fellows also, but that fellows we doesn't take, which are similarly small bundles of electromagnetic radiation or energy. See, nothing from solar panel you cannot have energy, only energy from the sun. This photon can be observed by photovoltaic cell, observed. So only by observing that energy an electron is moving. That electron is not from the solar panel and all. The type of cell that compose of solar panel. When light of suitable wavelength is instant, so usually solar panel the wavelength is 1000, which is the photon from a color of yellow. I think you might have seen the sun. Sun has all colors you can see, but the predominant fellow is yellow color. So that is wavelength of 1000, which is nothing but yellow. I think even you might have studied done experiment in first year for where you might have taken an yellow light source and try to measure, and finally you will calculate and tell it is around 1000. So that is same, that yellow light is nothing but sun's light, which is of having lambda of 1000. Okay, so suitable wavelength they say, so wavelength is 1000. Okay, for the photon transfer to an atom of semiconductor material, so energy from photon is only transferred to the semiconductor. You are supposed to know, say, understand that not the electrons from the semiconductor and all move outside. If the electron from the semiconductor move outside, on 10 to 15 days itself your solar panel doesn't have any energy and solar panel collapse. You have to be very clear. You have p-type and n-type. The energy is required to cross the barrier, and this crossing of energy is transferred from the photon. Simplify, the energy transfer to the electron in material. This causes electron to jump to an higher energy state known as conduction band, leaves behind hole in the valence band, and that electron jumped from. This movement of electron as a result of added energy create two charge carriers and electron hole pair. Okay, when unexcited, the electron holes in semiconductor material together forming bond for surrounding atom and thus cannot move. However, this excited state in the conduction band, these electrons are free to move through the material, and the electrons is only generated from the photon. That you have to be very clear. Not this electron is not from your semiconductor, from that photon. Because of the electric field that exists as a result of p-n junction, and electron holes move in the opposite direction. So from p you will receive electron, and from p you receive electron, and from n you receive holes. That is the procedure we say. Higher potential to lower potential is only possible. So that is what they say here. Instead of being attached to the p side, the free electron tends to move towards n side. The motion of electron, so this is not happening, only this is happening. So that is what we say. This motion of electron creates an electric current in the cell. Once the electron moves, so a single solar cell can generate a voltage of 0.6 and a current of 5 amps, and this cell will be arranged in series. So when you arrange in series, what remains constant is current remains constant, only voltage will get added up. So if you have two 1.5 volts battery in your home, when you are connected this to 1.5 volt, it becomes 3 volt. Okay, I think you might have seen in small toys, remotes and all, they will put 3 volt. 3 volt is required. So what you will do, you put 2 cell. If they write 6, you put 4 cells in series. Okay, same case here. One single solar cell can generate of 0.6. Why 0.6? Because 0.6 is the forward breakdown voltage of a diode. You might have studied diode in forward bias and reverse bias. In forward bias, what is the breakdown voltage they sold? 0.6. So that 0.6 is only being generated by you. Okay, so then you will have to connect it in series. When you connect it in series, your voltage will increase, but current remains constant, and the only source in the world where you say constant current source is only solar panel. Okay, all other sources are called as constant voltage source, and only source in where you call it as constant current source is solar panel. So solar panel is the example for constant current source. So current will not vary, only voltage will vary. Depending upon the light intensity, the voltage of your solar panel will vary and current remains constant. Whereas when you go for all other sources, what you say, voltage remains constant and current varies, whereas that is the not case for solar panel alone. Okay, so now you connect all these cells in series and form your solar panel, where in solar panel finally you get a voltage of 24 volts or 48 volts depending upon the requirement. You try to connect series combinations. Okay, then comes your efficiency. This is one more thing which you have to understand very clearly for your practical life or practical wherever you go for industry. When they call photovoltaic cell efficiency, you have to remember that efficiency is the ratio of electric power produced by the cell to the amount of sunlight it receives. See, now efficiency is from sun, how much light source can be converted into power. That is the efficiency of the solar panel. You don't think that you have a semiconductor, what is the maximum semiconductor can conduct. That is not this case, because you have to remember source is only from sunlight. So to measure the efficiency, cells are combined to form a module, because I cannot go and take a single cell alone and trying to find the efficiency. So what I will do, I will manufacture a solar panel, and then for that panel I will do the test. The resulting panel are placed in front of solar simulator that mimics the ideal sunlight condition of 1000 watts of light per cubic meter at ambient temperature of 25 degree. So this is what we call it, usually we call it as reference, or we call it as assumption. This is assumption. I might have told in class, any theorem, any law can be disproved if you touch on the assumption. See, they have taken assumption like this, but this you can disprove by saying that it will not be 1000 watts, or you can say at 25 degree this is not possible, or at 100 watts the temperature will not be 25. When you touch on any this, your assumption will fail and the entire theorem will fail. Similarly, only they have proved that E is equal to mc square, they have disproved. They disproved only by touching the assumptions. Okay, the electric power produced by the system or peak power is a percentage of incoming solar energy. So you told 100, so you have told 1000, and if the panel measure 1 square meter generate 200 watts, then input is 1000, what you are able to generate is 200 watts, so the efficiency is 20. So till now we have manufactured panel which will have maximum of 33% is only the efficiency, which means 33% of the solar power only been converted into electric, which means that is the maximum efficiency, but that is also theoretical. So always theoretical doesn't match with the practical, so practical will be less than theoretical. So practically maximum efficiency solar panel which was developed is only 20%. Okay, so 20%. When you keep a solar panel of your rooftop covering entire your terrace, which means you are totally covered your terrace, even there only 20% of the photon falling on the solar panel is only been converted into electricity. That is what we have to understand. Okay, so that is the efficiency. So all the sunlight power cannot be converted into electric, only 20% you are able to convert. Okay, this is referred as, so this the method for calculating the efficiency, and this is referred as Shockley-Quirk's limit. Okay, when you move on to types of photovoltaic cell, there are majorly classified into 3 types. We call it as crystalline, then thin film, then organic cell. All this you have to cleanly understand, because when you go for industry all this is more required. Okay, so that is why I am a little bit explaining in detail for you, because I can even explain in 5 to 10 minutes, but all this thing you have to be very clear. Okay, so when you call crystalline, what they will grow and they will cut into wafers and they will prepare. Okay, so there will be more wastage. I think you might have gone to bakery, you have a bread. Okay, so when in this bread, usually what they will do, they will put it into slice. When they put into slice, what will happen to some small pieces of breads? That will, you will have a slice, but some breads are waste. Okay, now by putting this wafer, something is get wasted. That wasted is again been reheated and formed solar panel, which is called thin film. Okay, so price of monocrystalline when thin film, you go and buy a bread, the small broken breads will be thrown or will be given at cheap cost. Okay, so that is why monocrystallines are costly compared to thin films. Okay, so monocrystallines are nothing but a new bread piece. You take a new bread piece and cut into wafer, so there the size will be unique and you will have a small thin wafers, so that is costly. Then சிந்துனது செதர்னதை வச்சு manufacture பண்றது, we call it as thin film, which will be always less in price. And similarly, what happened when this is from original bread slice, they will have more efficiency and this will have less efficiency. So if you want more efficiency, you have to pay more and you have to get monocrystalline. Then when you want to get less, you will go for thin film. And in between, polycrystalline is making solar panel with 2 or different types of breads. Okay, some bread will be in white color, some bread will be in brown color, orange color, that is nothing but maida bread, wheat bread. So you might have cut your wheat breads and formed a slice that is made up of wheat bread alone. So only the word called mono, it is from same type. But what is happening here is in polycrystalline is some pieces are from wheat, some wheats are from maida. So take all combinations. So that is why the name polycrystalline. Again, when you comparing between these two, monocrystalline and monocrystalline are high efficiency. Finally, I conclude the solar panel with monocrystalline are high cost and high efficiency. So next to this fellow is called as polycrystalline. So made up of different type of crystalline, but is also made up of crystalline, but it is slightly less. And this third one is, it is very thin in structure, okay, but the efficiency is less. And finally, which is organic, this occupy more space and more volume. So they have proved it, but it is not commercially viable. So crystalline, I told there are two type. One is silica is extracted from silica, later has been formed, and including quartz, which is found in large quantities in sand. Silica cells account for more than 95% of the solar cell market. In commercial application, the efficiency ranges from 16.5 to 22. This is the maximum depending upon the technology. In cold processing method, silica is composed of many crystal and it is called polycrystalline. The cells are easy manufacture and have a laboratory efficiency itself is 25, whereas here commercial itself is 25. So laboratory is 22, then it will be slightly less. Okay, this is called monocrystalline, this is called polycrystalline. From the color itself you can identify. This will have only a single color, where you can see some patches here. See, this is lightly dark in color and this is light in color. So they are made up of one or two types of material, where this is made up of only single type of material. Then comes your thin film. So in thin film, rather instead of cutting silica wafer of around 200 see, I have told the example for bread that we will not cut with that thickness and all. It will be very small in thickness. So in thin film, what I told, rather cutting, I am going to make a surface. So it is possible to deposit semiconductor material in thin film only a few micron thick on the substrate such as glass or plastic. So directly on plastic, I will heat and melt and I will make it to flow. That's all. So commonly used substrates are cadmium telluride or copper indium gallium selenide. We call it as CIGS, whose laboratory efficiency is close to that of silica at 22, but when you manufacture and bring it as a product, it will be less. So finally I conclude that the solar efficiency is only 22, which is for monocrystalline. All other efficiency will be slightly less compared to monocrystalline. Okay, this is how the appearance of thin film. So thin film, you can see it is not one single color, it is multiple color, which is nothing but I have told Sindhanadi Sadarnadi you have taken and you have heated and form a layer, and only difference between the other two is the wafer is very thin here because it is not wafered, it is coated. So once you coat, then it will be very thin. This will be useful where something want to fold and open. See, when you send a satellite, where the arms and all will be closed and sent, and at that after the satellite is launched, the arms and all will open. In that case, folding of the solar panel take place. So there we go for thin film and all. Okay, and last one is organic solar cell that utilize organic molecules or polymers rather than semiconductors. So when you move from semiconductors to polymers, obviously the size will increase. So that is the difference between this. The cell continue to have low conversion efficiency. See, this fellow is solid and this is semiconductor, whereas polymer is thick in size. When your size increases, automatically your efficiency will also come down. But the thing is, it is low cost. So compared to semiconductor, it is low cost. And another technology. Okay, so this is being used. So here you will have two or different types of layers put together, and this layers, it is like a box. You will have a metal electrode, then you have organic materials. So based upon the sunlight, there will be movement of charged particles. So movement of charged particles will reach to power generator, and that is being brought out. Okay, so thank you. So today we have discussed two topics. One is we have seen about, so today class we have discussed about two, which is photoconductive cell and a photovoltaic cell. Okay, so this is about today's class. Do you